everyone, and welcome to another of NATECLA Scotland's YouTube interviews. I'm delighted to be joined by Nicola Weston-Gokalp today of Dundee and Angus College. Nicola, thanks for joining me today.
You're welcome.
Now, you're currently Curriculum Head of English Language and Teacher Training at D&A College. Can you give us a quick rundown of your career to date and a little bit about the department that you currently manage?
Okay, thank you. So I started teaching in 1991, quite a long time ago now, after my CTEFLA, which is the equivalent of the CELTA as it is now. And I took up the first job I was offered, which happened to be in Turkey. I ended up staying there for about 9 years. So I worked in various language schools, teaching all sorts of different groups of students. And then in 1995, I passed my DTEFLA, which was the Delta equivalent. And that really sort of changed my direction, because it was when I did that I started to get an interest in teacher training. Just because as part of the Delta, the diploma, we'd had to do a little workshop for our classmates, and I really enjoyed that. So that's when I thought, right, this is the way I want to go, really. So shortly after that, I did my CELTA trainer training, and I got work with the British Council in Izmir, doing teacher training for the local universities and high schools, and also at the centre itself. And that was great. I continued teaching as well, but teacher training as well. And then in 1999, I came back to the UK, and I worked in Cambridge in a private language school there, teaching and training. And then in 2006, we moved up to Scotland, and I spent my first year working part-time at Abertay University and Angus College and Dundee College, rushing around to different classes until I got a full-time job at Dundee College, as it was then. Mm-hmm. And then I became course leader. I can't remember when I became course leader. A number of years ago, and then 2 years ago I became head of department. So the department now is quite a big department. We've got 14 full-time streams over 2 campuses, and a range of part-time courses as well, which we run at the college, and also in partnership with the Dundee and the Angus ESOL partnership. And we also have a suite of teacher training courses which we run in Dundee.
Mm-hmm. Wow, yeah. So you've had a very varied sort of career in terms of places you've worked, and sort of moved into the management and the training side of things, while still retaining some teaching. Yeah. I would imagine that the last 15 months has undoubtedly been some of the most challenging in your whole career. Would you agree with that? It's been challenging for managers, for teachers, and for students.
Yeah.
What would you say? Sorry.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I agree. And what a sort of baptism of fire. So I became head of department, and then shortly after that we had the massive cyber attack at the college. Yeah. And then just as we were recovering from that, we had the pandemic. So yeah, it's not how I imagined being head of department would be, but yeah, it's been quite a year.
Certainly, well, in almost 2 years, really, isn't it? Yeah, taking into all of that. And what would you say have been the sort of the top 3 to 5 issues that you've had to grapple with? Well, first of all, as a manager, but also as a teacher or trainer.
Yeah, so I suppose as one of the biggest ones as a manager is the uncertainties, is the not knowing what's going to happen next week, what we have to do the following month. And anyone in the department will know that I like things clear and organized. I like to know what's happening when and for how long and who with, and it just hasn't been possible with the speed of the change this year. So that's been difficult for me personally as a manager. And linked to this, is the fact that I've wanted to try and shield the teachers in the department from this. So I've tried to be calm and reassure, a sort of reassuring presence for the people in the team, so they're not affected and haven't been affected so much by all the uncertainty and all the changes that are going on. But this means I've felt quite a burden upon myself, and I've felt quite isolated because of that. I mean, I've had support from the college, and support from the team is fantastic, but isolation in the fact that I haven't wanted to discuss everything with my team because I don't want them to be worrying about it. So I've sort of kept it.
Yeah. That's
kept
a lot to shoulder, and as a member of your team, I can say you have done that extremely well, and you have protected us.
Oh well, thank you. That's good to know then. Because you just want to think, God, there's so much rubbish going on that, and all the teachers have got so much to think about and so much to do, so many changes to grapple with, that you just want to let them get on and do the job that they need to do.
I mean, the uncertainty, and I mean, I know from our experience, just timetabling has been an absolute nightmare, because you have to be able to timetable for all sort of variables, really, whether it's in college, blended, online, socially distanced.
One. And maybe I'm not, I bring a little bit upon myself as well, because I could, we could just focus on the situation at the moment and how it is, but I need to be looking ahead and think, well, if this happens, I need to be ready for that. But if this happens, I need to be ready for that. So I probably put a lot of pressure on myself to get these scenarios sorted.
Well, it's probably in education, whilst we're living in the here and now in teaching and delivering, we're always having to think a year and ahead, really. That's the way certainly institutions work, don't they? Plus, thrown into a pandemic, you've had Brexit.
Well, there was that as well.
People are still feeling they're kind of not quite sure how it's going to affect. So that's another aspect, I guess.
Yeah, that's something which won't be affecting us too much next academic year. It's something we need to really focus on next year to sort out for subsequent years.
Yeah.
But sorry, you asked as a teacher as well. So I suppose as a teacher, it's the whole getting to grips with the online teaching, of course. But from a little practical point of view, things like not being able to use the board in the same way that I would use the board in a face-to-face lesson, because I very much like to use the board spontaneously, get something from the student, use their example and highlight various bits of language with their example. And that's more difficult when you have to type on a little screen, and we haven't been able to use different colours and squirrely bits and pictures on the board. Although I'm hoping that we might be able to get some special tablets, for drawing tablets, that we could do that next year. That would make that easier.
Yes, spontaneity has kind of gone out the window. Is things that we've taken for granted as teachers, we've had to sit and think and rethink and try and replicate in different ways online.
Yes. But that is very true. That
took me by surprise. When I sat down to plan my first real online session, and I thought, and that was when breakout rooms were in their early days, and monitoring, pair work, all the things that are just part of everyday ESOL become much more challenging.
And I suppose there's also that fear when you're first doing online lessons and haven't got much experience. You want everything to be all ready just in case. You don't know exactly what's going to go wrong or how it's going to go down. So you want your board to be there as a sort of comfort blanket, really.
Yes, I think I went back to what I would have done in the early days as a teacher and over-planned and had so many activities that I could possibly bring into play just in case. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not just been about online. So another of the issues that I've felt is, you mentioned it actually, monitoring. So in the classroom, but the 2-meter physically distanced classroom, the close monitoring and correction that would normally go on can't go on, and that's something that I've missed quite a lot. And yeah,
I've missed the busyness of an ESOL classroom where learners are constantly working with each other. They're milling, they're running dictations. There's so much energy normally in an ESOL classroom, and that's been lacking because of the distance. And wearing a mask obviously is not the most suitable for English language or pronunciation.
Yeah, that's right.
However, everybody across the board has had the same difficulties. Yes, moving to online or blended has been a challenge, absolutely. And it has been testing, but I mean, I think there is an argument that through all of this, a lot of us have actually become sort of upskilled in many ways and learned a lot of new things. We've added to our teacher toolkits, if you like. And do you think that's true for you?
Absolutely. And I mean, if anyone had said 15 months ago, or you've got to do an online lesson via Teams, like, oh no, please don't make me do that. I don't know how to. Not me. No, that it was. And then we just had to do it out of necessity. And now it's, after this year of doing it, it's actually not scary anymore. I can do that. Give me an online class and I'll do it all right. I'm sure there's lots of things I could improve, but I feel I'm okay. I feel confident, and that's a huge difference.
Yes, just having that experience under our belts, definitely moving forward, if that has to be the case. And actually, there are some times when it might even be a choice, because you can deliver to people who don't have to be physically present or for other reasons.
That's right. So and I think another thing as well that we've learned, or I've learned, is, I mean, you mentioned it yourself about being flexible, but being creative. So okay, I can't do my normal mingle that I would do, so how will I adapt it and do it in a different way? So thinking about things that we just, as you said, took for granted and we just did it as a matter of course, we've had to rethink some of them. And things like going into a classroom. I remember going into a classroom where we had to use a different department and the seats were all in sort of exam mode. I thought, I can't teach a class like this, I'm gonna have to change it all around. But now that's what our classes look like, and we've perfectly good lessons in them. We just do it in a different way.
That's right.
So I think it's been quite good in that sense.
I think another sort of warming part of the last year or so has been the collaboration and the sharing that's gone on. I mean, from within our department, and people, finding things out and sharing, and but actually generally in the ESOL community, not just in the UK but abroad, in the webinars, access to free materials, etc. That has really helped. NATECLA certainly tried to play a part in making that available to people.
There's been an awful lot. A lot available, and not just towards the beginning most of it was focusing on digital skills and online learning, which was what people needed, but it's not just that, it's other stuff as well, which has been offered by lots of different organizations. So that's really good. And I think we have had so many challenges, but we've come, we're not out of it yet. It's carrying on, it's still here, but despite all the challenges, we've had a successful year. Our learners have come through having learned English, having developed their skills, you know, and everyone's tried to keep positive and helpful, and everyone's been supporting each other. Yeah, so I think I'm very proud of the way our department has come through this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, we've been focusing on managing and teaching, but yes, it's the students at the centre of all that. And I think it has been, yeah, challenging for many of them for all sorts of reasons. But it's nice to finish off the year and see them achieve and make progress, manage to get some testing done and certificates, etc. So, yeah, I think everybody has kind of pulled together to make it as positive a thing as, and moving forward. I know it's difficult for you to be sure of anything really. Do you think the future of ESOL teacher training is now changed forever? And
well, I think that digital learning, digital teaching, online stuff is definitely here to stay. I don't think that's going to go away.
no.
I just hope that, well, I think what we need to do is not go online just because we can. I think we need to still keep the learners at the heart of what we do, and where it's appropriate and where it's better for the learners to go online, then go online. But I believe there's still a huge place for face-to-face learning.
Yeah, I agree. And yes, I think there are some blended options that may well fit the needs of the moment, whether that's a pandemic or for other reasons. But yeah.
But on the other hand, having said that, this new digital world and the new world of online learning is hopefully going to open up lots of new doors for us, because you mentioned Brexit, and we talked about this year, it's not, or next year coming up, it's not affecting us too much, but after that, our main body of students are that we typically have, which are European migrants, that is going to start getting smaller and smaller. And we're going to have to look elsewhere for quite a lot of our students. So going online, going abroad, and particularly for our teacher training courses and maybe some of our part-time English language courses, it might be a way of attracting some students who wouldn't otherwise be able to come.
Yes,
not just abroad, but other places in
making our courses accessible to people. You know, we've very much operated, I suppose, in a very samey way for many years now, and as a result of Brexit and the pandemic, we've been given the opportunity to try things out, actually, and now we can look at how we develop that and take it forward.
That's right.
Which, you know, could be lots of exciting stuff happening. Hope so. So finally, if you can you sum up your last year or so in 5 adjectives?
Well, luckily you gave me this question beforehand, so I've had time.
I know, yes, I would never
think of 5 adjectives, because normally I'd be, oh no. Even so, it took me a while, but I've divided them up into 2 groups. The first group is about the year itself, so it might be similar to what other people have said. You know, it's just been such a demanding, exhausting and long year. It seems to have been going on forever. Someone asked me something that happened in September, and I thought, I cannot remember. I can't remember September. Was that this year? Was that last year? So that's how it feels to me personally. But the other 2 adjectives I've kind of linked to the department, really, because I think our teachers in the department have been really resilient, and I think that has led to something which may be transformational. You know, we talked about the fact that we've got this opportunity to think about doing things differently, and I think we will use that to change our department, to change our provision, to not because we've had to this year, but because we can, and because we can make it better. Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yes, great choice. And yes, I think that's a really nice place to end, looking forward in a very positive way with all sorts of opportunities that could come our way, and taking with us a bigger toolkit with which to meet the coming challenges. So, well, I hope all goes well for you and your department. And thank you very much for joining us today, Nicola.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking me.
Thank you.